Okay, so how do you accept the here and now? When you stop struggling, when you stop fighting with the moment, and you start enjoying the moment, and you separate yourself from those negative feelings, those negative emotions that you may be feeling. Whenever they arise, whenever they come, any of those thoughts of, I'm not enough, or things you're embarrassed of, things that you're ashamed of. What's up? Olga Torres, what's going on? Mom, yo, what's going on? Isabella, what's up? Look, I'll restart just because, I want you guys to hear this. I only talk for like 10 seconds. So what is the here and now? How do you start living in the here and now? How do you, whenever those emotions of, I can't do that, or, the ideas of, that's too difficult, or maybe the idea of, man, I'm ugly, or maybe the idea of, you know what, maybe my legs looked a bit more like, or maybe, if I finally, entered into a new relationship, any of these ideas, any of these thoughts that come into our mind, how do we stop them? How do we eliminate them? That's what I want to get to you through this message right now. Does that sound good? Does that sound good? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So, essentially, there's the here and then there's the now. I'm going to put the phone down. Right? The here and the now, you say it's the moment, but at the same time, the here and the now is two things. Right? It's not one thing. The here and the now is two things. Right? So there's the here, and then there's the now, but then there's the moment. Right? So how do you describe life? Is a bunch of pictures. Is a bunch of pictures that we're taking. Really, really, really fast, right? That's what you call video. You call it moving images. A video is just moving images. So just imagine you have the world's most advanced camera that's ever been existed. Because that's how they create cameras. They think about how the human eye works. Right? So right now you're walking around with the greatest camera. Congratulations. But anyway, you're taking these videos. You're the observer. Right? You're looking at me. Yeah? You don't have to try to look at me. Right? Anywhere you look, you don't have to try to look. As soon as you open your eyes, you can see. Right? I know that sounds really, really obvious. Right? But it's the obvious thing that is controlling your thoughts. It's obvious. Right? I literally pointed to you that you are the observer. Think about hearing right now. You don't have to try to hear. You don't have to turn on your hearing muscles. You don't have to turn on your eye muscles. Right? They're just automatically there. It's automatically going. Right? So observe your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You have to observe the here and you have to observe the now. There's two different things. So in the here is the thought before the thought, which is the empty space in your mind before you have a thought. And then comes a thought, right? And it runs through your subconscious. And then it pops up to your conscious. So even though your subconscious and your conscious and your higher conscious are just one, we only tap into a few of them according to your intelligence, according to your ability, to think beyond the layers in which we can see. You see, there's nothing that the government can keep a secret from you because it's all there. It's so everything in the world is obvious. You can't hide anything, right? You just have to have different layers of understanding in order to see. It's called consciousness. That's how we would describe consciousness. You hear all these, consciousness seems to be a really, really big topic lately. And I'm not jealous. Actually, congratulations, because that's what my job here is to do, to bring mental freedom, to remove blinds, to remove filters, that are preventing us from freedom, from freedom, from freedom, freedom of your heart, for freedom to say whatever you want to say, for freedom to think whatever you want to think, right? Notice any time that you say something that makes somebody uncomfortable, they have the need to try to shut you down. Instead of saying, oh, that's an interesting idea, right? Because it's just an idea, right? But they're like, no, my idea is the correct one and your idea is the wrong one. You see how ignorant and of a low conscience that is. We have to acknowledge other views, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. For your gain. It's for your gain. You're winning by observing other people's views, right? It's making you so much smarter, right? It's literally like really weird things where people say, you know, I was a part of an online dark web cult. Or they'll say, oh, I was in a cult, because these are really big with millions of people, where they go and they have, you know, orgies or whatever in the middle of the desert, right? Now, first you might be like, what the fuck? Yo, what the heck? What are you talking about? Like, why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do that? That's your first thought, right? But then the choice here comes like, well, let's actually think about it. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do that? Right? When we think about, let's just say, something crazy, something really crazy, just throwing this out there, murder. You're like, oh shit, what the fuck? Why would anybody do that? Like, why would anybody do that, right? But then detectives come over here, and they're like, and they study their psychology, and they understand the mechanisms of the brain, right? And they be like, well, this is the reason that somebody would murder. These parts of the brain were activated, you know. These were the hormones that were going through the body, right? And then there's the social scientists, those who study the animals and the way we communicate socially. Communication is what you call it. Communication, which is what I fucking love to study. Communication is, you study that and you think, well, there's social reasons why somebody would commit murder, right? And then stepping into those footsteps to try to understand the other person and the other view, because that view is somehow inside your world. You think, what do you mean it's inside my world? Well, you had a reaction to it. You reacted to it. Like let's just say, there's a ball coming towards your face really, really fast. Somebody kicked it, and it just goes through your face. It just goes through the back of your head. You're not touched by it. You didn't even see it. You didn't even feel it, right? That's what it's like. That's the way I would describe the inability to have a higher conscience, right? You literally just don't see it. You literally just don't see it. It'll go right through you like if you're some kind of ghost, right? And it won't even be like somebody might have shared an idea with you, but it wasn't until years later that you heard the idea again and you're like, whoa, that's trippy. Yo, you're like, or you look at a video of something you said. I do this all the time. I see my old videos. And I'm like, yo, this guy was on something. This guy was a genius. Like, damn. But now I know I don't take what you would call ownership of my intelligence. I just take responsibility of my intelligence. I don't take ownership of my ability to heal. I just take responsibility for that ability to heal. I don't take ownership for my ability to be an amazing athlete. Like, that's just something that was, it's just divine energy. You're just a channel. You're just a channel. You're like a little, radio frequency. You change the frequency on the station just a little bit, you got a whole new channel. You're listening to a whole new genre, right? And you hear that static, right? Yeah, just imagine you are that static, right? You are that energy, right? And you're tuning in to the energy that you want. Right? That's this. Okay, now you might think, oh, I can just tune it all the way and I'm a complete different person. And that's, there's something wrong with that idea. It's because it's like being on a train, like running next to a train, trying to jump on it while it's going as fast as it's going, as like super fast. But if it's going slow, like, that's fine. You're gonna be alright. I mean, if it's going real fast, like, you obviously, it would be dangerous. Right? That's what it's like to go, right? So we have to go one step at a time. Don't take big steps. Don't take big steps. Don't take big steps. Take little step, 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 little little take. I hope that got through your mind that you're gonna take little steps now. Does that sound good? Little steps to change, man. Little steps to change. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then suddenly you're doing this. Like when I got people on morning routines, right? I help them to set up like a morning routine for them. You don't do like everything, like the whole meditate 20 minutes, do the whole workout, do the whole like juices and water and pooping and dressing and showering. What would you do is you first say, all right, today you're going to wake up and you're just going to do this. 2 things, right? You're going to drink water and you're going to do 50 jumping jacks. Does that sound good? And they're like, all right, cool. And then you just do it and eventually, and I said like breathe for 4 minutes. Can you do 4 minutes? 4 minutes is nothing, right? There's a specific breathing technique that I teach to help align your brain, your thoughts, and your body, right? But anyway, that's another thing. If you want to learn that, obviously you know where to find me. Calls go 25 an hour. But anyway, other than that, it's what I'm sharing here. Going back all the way to the beginning and tie it all together. About the here and the now, and how they're one, but they're also two, and acknowledging the different parts of our thought. Your awareness of the thought. Your awareness of the thought. And in that way, we stop being slaves to our thought. To that thought, we stop being a slave to that fear. To that fear. We all have fears. Every single one of us has fear. And the biggest fear of them all is the fear of death. The biggest one of them all is the fear of death. Am I right? Yes, it's the fear of death, man. So how do you get rid of the fear of death? You start thinking about death. Right? You guys, honestly, I'm sharing some of my best stuff here. This is like some of my best stuff. Like, so, think about death. Feel it. What would it be like to be dead? What would it be like to be dead? Okay. Imagine it. Anytime you have that fear, allow yourself to feel the fear. Allow yourself to feel the fear. And eventually, so it's like think about the fear. It's like this. You think about the fear, and then you feel the fear. And then you're not feeling the idea of the fear. You're just feeling the feeling. Feel the feeling, not the idea of. Because the idea involves mind. But the feeling itself just involves emotion. It's so good. I swear. Oh man, divine source, divine energy. How you feel me, how you flow through me. I allow myself to open up my channels and give out and say all that must be said. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, think about death. And then you're going to notice that eventually the feeling just goes away. Eventually the feeling just goes away if you feel the feeling. Look, this has a different feeling than this. Right? Now I could say this is good and this is bad, whatever. But it would also be depending on what am I looking for. If I want to use this for a hat, it's not going to do me good, man. I'm going to sweat and it's going to crumble. But if I want to use this to clean something, it's obviously very bad as well. So, this feeling is good for this. And this other feeling is bad for this, and it's also good for this. So it just depends where you are at specifically. If you were sad and now you're mad, you made progress. Right? If you were happy and then now you're crying, well, you digressed. Right? Doesn't mean bad though. Does not mean bad, bad, bad. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Hey, 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 no, it doesn't. Hey, hey, no, it doesn't. I should be a trap star. But anyway, guys, that's what I want to leave you with. Be the best. Forget the rest. And check out my book, Command Respect. Learn to set boundaries. Yes, not walls. Boundaries. Not walls, boundaries. It sounds so good. Learn to set walls, not boundaries. That's not the title though. Using psychology, consciousness, and the pursuit of happiness. No, it's not the pursuit of happiness. It's psychology, consciousness, and the law of attraction. Yes, baby. Let's get it. I have an author page. If you've seen it, go like it. Because they're going to give me the blue tick. Apparently, it's more likely for authors to get it. And if you find any value in anything that I say, please do check out the author page. Other than that, be the best, forget the rest. Our resilience, Ice Nation, baby. Ice Nation, international consciousness, elevation.